City of Lacey Transportation meeting to order. It looks like we have a 2-item agenda. Can I get a motion for our agenda? Oh, before we get started, Councilmember Vasquez is excused for this meeting, and Councilmember Stedman is here with us remotely.
Well, it was my intent to be in, but life happens sometimes. But I'd make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
And I will second. I don't guess we have to vote on this motion, but all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we have an agenda. And it looks like the first item on our agenda is our construction update, and that will be presented by our construction manager, Ashley Smith.
All right, it's been a few months since we've had a construction update, so we have some projects in here that are larger utility projects in addition to mainly transportation, just for your awareness. Let's start with the 2022 Carpenter Road improvements. This project includes installation of 4,100 linear feet of water main and street reconstruction. That was awarded to Miles Resources and is funded by the TBD and the water utility. The water main installation is complete at this point, with temporary patching on the roadway. And as soon as school is dismissed at the end of the month, they are able to continue with repaving the street. So we have that scheduled beginning July 6th, July 7th at this point and forward. The 2022 overlay utilities project includes 3 areas. This is the 7th and Golf Club area in the business district, Franz Street, and 14th Avenue Southeast between Sleater, Kinney, and College Street. That also includes about 2,000 linear feet of water main and street reconstruction, also awarded to Miles Resources and funded by the TBD and the water utility. Work is complete in this section around 7th Avenue and 14th Avenue, with the exception of permanent striping. They're waiting on the HMA to cure fully before that is completed. And then we have the remaining water work on Franz Street upcoming on Saturday, June 10th. That was originally designed as a live tap water connection to minimize disruption, but it is prohibitive with the amount of room that's available in that trench. So we had to move to a cut-in tee, which will result in turning off water for the customers over here, including Lacey Fire District 3.
Is that in conjunction with the City of Olympia, or is that not? That's just us.
Just us. Mm-hmm. So following completion of that water work, upcoming next weekend, we can pave Franz Street as well, and that'll be complete midsummer this year. This is a shot on 7th and Sleater Kinney of the paving. And then this is where that cut-in tee will be occurring on June 10th. This is Lacey Boulevard shown here in Franz Street, kind of out into that lane.
7th and Sleater Kinney is that's completed?
Correct, except for striping.
Okay.
Yes. The electric vehicle charging stations, I included in here for an update. This is a total project cost of around $673,000 with a federal grant supporting the majority of that, $516,000. At this point, the site work is complete at all locations, the community center, library, city hall, and the North Thurston Public School District office. We are just waiting on the service cabinets for that final electrical connection. And those are expected any day. So we're waiting on a start date, likely this month, for them to complete that work. Citywide signal ITS detection upgrades replaces traffic detection systems at 10 intersections shown here on this map. That is partially grant funded and was awarded to City Electric. That work is beginning next week, Monday, on June 12th, and they'll be turning off the signal cabinets at each intersection, 1 per day as they go through. Golf Club Road Water and Wastewater has just started. This project includes 3,800 linear feet of water main, 2,000 linear feet of sewer force main, and 4,000 linear feet of sewer gravity main. And it's primarily Golf Club Road, but also includes this section of Lacey Boulevard before the one-way couplet and the roundabout at Lacey Boulevard and Golf Club. There's also a sewer connection in the intersection here at Sleater Kinney that we have an upcoming road closure for. That was awarded to SCI in the amount of $6,562,091. And all of the work from Sleater Kinney through the roundabout in this section is scheduled for night work, and then we'll move down Golf Club Road.
That's right in front of the new multi-care, or is that?
Correct. The
Okay.
new multi-care is right here in this section of the roundabout.
Is that a part of the reason why we are doing upgrading sewer there, or?
No, it's just an infrastructure upgrade. It's very old
Gotcha.
in that area. Okay, Terry Cargil Reservoir is located on Intelco Loop, and that was awarded to Phoenix Fabricators. At this point, all the rings, total of 10, have been poured, and they're beginning material delivery for the steel bowl on the remainder of the reservoir here. That project is scheduled to be completed in the beginning of next year.
So that's the base before you start the actual.
Yep,
For some reason, I thought it
this
was
is the
taller.
tower essentially.
Yeah.
Sleater Kinney and Pacific Signal Pole relocation. This is to move, you can see the intersection here of Pacific and Sleater Kinney. And that is to move the traffic signal pole behind the sidewalk. It's been an issue with accidents. So the foundation has been poured for that. It has a 30-day concrete cure, and then they'll be scheduling the closure of that intersection for that work as well.
The 61.5 only represents our construction cost. It doesn't actually represent the
Correct.
upfront,
That's just the contract for,
just the contract. And do you remember what we paid for that right away, or?
I don't.
You don't have to, yeah.
No, it
I
can't be
just-
much.
Okay.
And that was one that WashDOT gave us the signal pole when they took it down for the DDI.
Mhm.
We took that one and we're modifying it to put on this space.
But it's not like a cell phone tower where we have to continually pay them some portion, an annual portion. It was just like a
They gave it to us for
one-time.
free. They said, do you want it?
No, not for the pole, for the space.
No, we bought that
Just-
outright.
Okay.
Hey, so we're repurposing it, huh? So the whole recycle, reuse, repurpose thing? That's awesome.
that's correct. All right, moving on to 2023 Mullen Road sewer improvements. This includes about 2,000 linear feet of sewer force main.
Wait, what's the completion on this signal pole? Potential
This summer.
summer, okay.
There's some minor water valve removal and replacement, including a few hydrants and street reconstruction here as well. This includes the section of Mullen Road up to Aflerbaugh and east of Carpenter Road. That was awarded to Miles Resources. The sewer installation is about 30% complete. And then paving is projected for July this summer to be complete before the end of summer as well.
Is that the railroad trestle there?
That's my cursor.
To the far right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's. All right.
Correct. Beachcrest Wellfield pH improvements has been started in the last few months as well. This was awarded to McClure and Sons.
Wait, hold on. We have to go back to Mullen Road for
Sure.
just a minute.
No
So I
problem.
can. I know I'm gonna need a copy of this, but it helps when I.
No, that's okay. Feel free to stop me.
Alright, so Mullen Road, Miles got that.
And there's city limit stops at Afterball, right?
I believe so.
Just a little over. Yeah, that's just about where the red line stops. Yeah.
So we're setting up a connection there for the developer to pick up the rest of the way,
Okay.
to make the remaining improvements.
Did we talk about potential road closures on this one, or will there be, or?
There will not be a road closure. They're gonna do one side of the roadway at a time. And we've staggered that with the Carpenter Road paving, so there's not impact on both sides. They have a detour route.
I was there yesterday for 20 minutes waiting for construction, but you know, everybody wants the improvements of construction, but not the inconvenience of them, even though it's temporary, and it's builds a better quality of life for everybody. So it's just, you know, people should try to be patient because the after effect is far better than, you know, what we had before going longer or into perpetuity because old infrastructure fails.
And that is just, that sewer, that's just an upgrade. It's not new because that development already had it, right?
Correct. This is phase one of a two-phase project to be able to provide services for other residents in the area at a later date, though.
Gotcha.
All set?
Yep, I'm ready. I'm good. I'm ready for the next one. There we go.
So Beachcrest Wellfield pH improvements was awarded to McClure and Sons. This includes pH adjustments in compliance with Department of Health requirements. At this point, all the wells on the site are offline. So well 15 is decommissioned and then 15R and 16 are offline until the end of next year. So the site is essentially de-energized. At this point, they are moving forward with the stem wall for the new pH treatment building. And they will be putting in rough-in plumbing and electrical in early July.
Till Q.
Now those wells are supposed to be back online in the spring, right?
It's currently scheduled for fall of 2024 to have those back online.
Okay.
Was that, so the new reservoir out there is up and running, right?
Which reservoir?
Marsh.
Sisters Prairie, Sisters Dam?
Yeah, sisters.
Yes.
Okay, and is that how we're supplementing for 2 wells being offline? How does that work? I don't really, can
Scott, do you want
somebody?
to take that one?
So, you know, we have 20 wells. It's a system and there's different pressure zones. So we have enough source from other wells to feed those reservoirs in the booster. It does, well, yesterday at the utility committee, we went over the water shortage response plan. And we have like 3 different thresholds we look at during the summer in terms of if we need to implement kind of higher standards for water conservation to cut back on irrigation. Those different thresholds are based on the number of wells we have running. And so since these are offline, it reduces that threshold. If we run into some peak hot periods, it may, irrigation may, cross over those thresholds. And if they do, then we'll put out the message to conserve, water in terms of essential needs during the winter time when people aren't irrigating. There's about 6 million gallons a day on average. During the summer, we probably average more like 13 million gallons a day. So we have plenty of capacity to throttle back because it's just irrigation. It's just keeping your lawn green is pretty much what that amounts to. But it's not, the storage isn't what makes up for the wells. We need to have the supply to keep that storage there. And part of that storage is for fire flow and things of that nature as well.
So we have 2 offline out of 20.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And we'll be seeing that for the next several years as we'll complete this project. And then there are 2 other pH improvement projects where we'll go through the same thing. And then wells over time hit diminishing returns and we have to rehabilitate them and pull them offline. So we'll be seeing this for some time into the future.
All right. What's the size of a pH improvement? I mean, that looks like what? 30, 40 by something? What is that? What's the length of that?
The footprint.
Yeah.
I would estimate roughly 1,000 square feet, but I don't know. It's much larger than the current facilities on that site, though. All right. Station 19 replacement is underway. They've completed the sewer connections along Willamette Drive and patched those areas temporarily until completion of the project. They're currently working to restore irrigation along Willamette Drive. There's a large section that was disrupted for some of those manholes that were installed.
I remember.
So we've been fielding calls from the HOAs in particular that own that irrigation system, and the planting is there to potentially have to restore some of it.
Now, is that where the new townhouses are going in, or, because I saw the closure, right, one day when I was trying to.
Right, there are two projects side by side on Willamette Drive. One of them is the private development further north, and then this one is just past that on the southern end of Willamette Drive.
So this is fairly close to Shipwreck Beach.
Okay.
Where this is located.
So up there at 31st, there's an apartment project going in at that intersection. On the
Right, that's the-
north east corner.
Which is that roundabout,
Right.
right? Okay, and then that's where we talked about those townhomes because, you know, they have a common wall, but they're still
Right.
for sale, and that
Right.
whole,
And then, yeah,
that's
that's the,
taking that risk.
and that's just past 31st project.
Okay. And so then this, and I'm sorry, where's this
That's separate
project?
from this project.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was like, where is this project in relation to that?
Just south of it. So if you continue up Willamette Drive about to right here,
Mhm.
that's where the limits of the private development improvements begin.
So this one is right next to the new like storage facility?
Well, this is right next to.
This
the
is
Port of
Commerce
Wellfield.
Place right here. So Shipwreck Beads is up here and
And just in the upper right corner, there's a stormwater, the big stormwater.
Stormwater pond that I never have seen. But if we keep going down south, that's where the Pacific disposal is.
that's, yeah, further down this way,
All right.
kind of right in between the two.
What's that road right there?
This one,
To the right? To
This
the,
one?
that, yeah.
Borealis. This is more just for these.
Is that where the Community Action Council is?
No, it's further.
That's
Further
further
up.
up. Okay, okay. Now I'm better oriented now. Thank you.
So most of the work at this point is on the new lift station site, and that estimated completion is about 1 year. All right, moving into projects that are starting construction soon. We'll be awarding the 2023 overlay phase 1 at June 15th council to Tucci and Sons. And this project includes Carpenter Hills Loop, 34th Avenue Southeast, 10 streets, a portion of, and then primarily Rainier Road and 66th, including that roundabout. This is funded by the Transportation Benefit District, and construction is scheduled for this summer.
Hold on, let me get that. I know this is coming out and I'll see it. I just want to. Is the Rainier Road 66th Avenue, is that where we had the water damage? Is that the?
That,
Just-
the emergency repair, sorry, my cursor's not showing up here, but the emergency repair limits start at the end of where we're picking this up and go to the trestle. Yes, that was the section.
And that. Can I just go over there real quick? So. This right here,
Mhm,
that's the backside of the golf course.
correct.
And then that's where the old Lacey substation, the little police station was at for the longest time.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're hitting that part.
Yep.
Just checking to make sure.
Includes the roundabout there at Balustrade. Some pretty significant detours when we get to that portion of the work.
Yeah. That's a heavy flow section right there because that, we really built that up.
Yes. Overlay phase 2 includes the roundabouts at Britton Parkway and Gateway Boulevard and the roundabouts at Pacific Avenue and Holman. This is also funded by the Transportation District, Benefit District, estimated at $1.5 million. We have pushed this project to advertise towards the end of the year versus trying to complete it before the paving window ends this summer, considering the impact of these two corridors. So we would anticipate construction to begin in early spring 2024.
So I guess it doesn't go down far enough. In my mind, I'm thinking, why not just wait until the new roundabout is, about to be RFP or whatever, but
Oh,
because
Over
Over
Carpenter.
here.
Britton.
yeah, I guess. Anyway, sometimes, we think of Britton and it's like, wait a minute, we're repaving that, it feels so new already, right? Does it not? Or is that just me and just because I
It
live on?
feels new, but the condition doesn't reflect that. If
It's
you,
over 20 years old.
Is it, okay, so we have, it's seen a lifespan.
Mhm.
It really hurts my feelings when we're redoing things that I did.
It didn't seem like 20 years ago, so thanks for bringing that up.
Right, the 2023 overlay phase 3 includes utility work as well. And that is 3 locations. There's a section of 37th Avenue, 36th Avenue Southeast with the cul-de-sacs, and 33rd Avenue and 33rd Loop. So this is funded in partnership between the TBD and the water utility with the proportionate amounts shown here. And this one is scheduled for advertisement around the same time towards the end of this year.
Good. That's strictly residential back there.
Mhm,
There's no, okay, so
correct.
when we do those kind of things, like, well, I know we notify them because I've been notified, like, get your car off the street, we're gonna do something,
Mhm.
We ever have any pushback on that or like, any problem with that?
No, we usually get some concerned phone calls. We're just looking for information than anything, but we do send out a mailer prior to beginning construction and then are active, posting on social media, news releases and things.
Goes pretty smooth most often. I just, if we go back just real quick,
Oops, sorry.
try to make sure that we're out of here for lunch. Like fall winter.
TBD is also funding $500,000 for sidewalk repair. Locations identified for that this year include Ruddell Park at 33rd Court Southeast, and then 45th Avenue Southeast from the College Street Roundabout out to the trail. At this point, advertisement is scheduled for this winter. It's the most advantageous time for replanting of trees and also to get a good product on the concrete replacement.
Is it because they're slow in terms of work or?
Ideally, we would get these out in early spring. So
Okay,
at
so
this point in the year, we're setting the contractor up to be doing this work in the middle of winter as it is. So we're gonna push that out into the spring and set it up for success.
We keep a lot of families food on the table. Yeah. Keep them working. And then 45th. Mark.
Ruddell Road pedestrian crossing is part of the annual program for pedestrian and bicycle improvements. And that is to install a pedestrian crossing on Ruddell Road just north of Hazelwood Lane, shown here. That advertisement is tentative for this fall at around $100,000.
That's not Ruddell Road.
This is Ruddell Road here.
The picture.
The picture, I don't think so. This is actually
That's
Pacific.
yeah.
I think this is
That's
just a short
kind of like
example
Abbey
of the
Lane to me.
crossing.
It's
Not
just
calling you
missing-
out, just.
Only Ringo left.
Yeah.
All right, so the one on Ruddell is where at again? I'm sorry.
North of Hazelwood.
You know, Faith Lutheran churches.
Mm,
That's a
Yes.
church right here.
yep. Oh, there's gonna be a pedestrian crossing, or there already is.
There is not.
There's
We've
not.
already
I
listed
didn't
this
think so.
one.
It's by the new retaining wall, we couldn't get the right of way in time, so we were gonna bid it with the retaining wall project,
Is it gonna be a signal crossing or is it
just flashing beacons.
okay? So that's new.
Yes. There's currently no pedestrian crossing in that area.
Not till you get to
At
22nd.
every intersection.
They take their risks.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
What was the purpose for that location? These guys, just some background.
Well, it's kind of where the bus stops are and where those apartments, so access to both those apartment
So you have
complexes.
the pedestrian generator and the attractors.
Right.
In that location, went through our policy process.
Right. It's kind of a main hub for that,
Right,
that section of road.
because we can't just put crosswalks anywhere, we gotta have the generator, the tractors, you know, because you gotta have a system and standard process, so.
All right, then we just have one construction upcoming update for the rack parking lot.
Hey, real quick on that crosswalk, do we get any grant funding for that, or is that strictly out of our pocket for that?
Strictly out of our poster.
That's what I thought.
Small projects like that don't really go well with grants. Takes a lot of extra time and a lot of extra money for no apparent reason.
I knew the answer, I just had to, couldn't help myself.
All right, the rack parking lot was budgeted and scheduled for construction this summer. So quick update, that parking lot improvement includes 338 regular stalls plus 8 bus stalls, which do not currently exist. And we've also included the annual program to install electric vehicle chargers here at this site.
Bus stalls.
Yes, so shown here, we have 8 bus pullouts
Do we
for,
have any bus stalls anywhere else in the city that you know of?
so,
So this is, it's kind of a milestone. Are we officially like a big city now?
we're,
We get some.
High schools have bus stops.
We get that pull out.
Medium-sized city.
yes.
Okay,
The
St.
idea here
Mark's,
is to prevent the current practice of pulling into the roundabout to do drop-offs with teams and things, and instead do that here in the plaza area.
oh, sure, okay,
Leave the
gotcha.
roundabout
So
open.
just so I can orientate myself.
So we have Stillicum Road,
Okay, that's
Here.
still a come
and Marvin Road here.
in Marvin. And they usually come up, do they usually come up the backside from, do they, when they get off the freeway, they get off at Nisqually and come up the Nisqually Hill and then take a left on, is it Deutero, and then a left on Stillicum and come that way, or do they?
They could, but they probably most likely come down Marvin.
Okay, so whatever it is, they'll take a left on Stillicum, most of them come from the freeway. Take a left on Stillicum, take a right into our,
Right, so you'd pull into this entrance here
okay,
and then park the team buses or whatever.
okay.
And then there'd be an exit point here to go back out.
Do we have like do we have some way of helping to establish a flow for that in terms of signage
From the freeway,
in any capacity, like on Marvin Road or?
I think we do have some.
Or is it just
signs,
kind of
some
common knowledge?
Wayfinding signs. We show where the rack is.
There's wayfinding signs going down Marvin.
So, well, I guess you can't get in if you go past Stillicum. You can't take a left in there, so you have to take that left on Stillicum,
correct,
right?
from that direction.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. I like this best out of everything I've seen today so far.
In addition, the Arterial Streets Fund is supporting a portion of the frontage improvements along this roadway. So we'll be adding sidewalk from the intersection of Marvin Stillicum to connect through to the fire station, and street lighting, curb and gutter, stormwater improvements, et cetera.
So just so I'm clear, parking lot improvements with 338 stalls.
Yes,
We're not adding 338 stalls.
we're designating 338 stalls. Currently, it's just open gravel. People park wherever they want.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And that's,
So this is a more efficient layout for people to park for larger events.
and that is supposed to happen I know we've been working on this for a while. Okay,
Right.
let me rephrase that. I know you guys have been working on this for a while.
No problem. So this was tentatively scheduled for construction this summer. It is funded for such. It is in the land use application, land use approval process right now. There are a few stormwater revisions that we need to make for that approval, but we're still targeting a July advertisement for construction.
Okay. And I couldn't remember what the estimate was, what the engineer's estimate was. Do you?
So they have an estimated cost right now at $3.5 million, but I would preface that with, that also includes 600,000 for electric vehicle chargers, 500,000 for frontage improvements as well. So the remainder would be from RAC capital.
So 4.1 or 4.6.
Down.
Well, the 5 plus the 6, that's 1.1. So then we add that to 3.5.
Subtract.
Subtract.
This is the total estimated cost. for
Oh,
this
that is the okay.
improvement.
Gotcha. I thought you were saying that was outside of that.
Right. So we have allocated space for up to 6 currently EV chargers. We'll be installing 1 for sure, and then depending on how the bids come in, the rest are included as additives and alternates. Just want to point out a recurring theme that we've run into with these electric vehicle projects is the infrastructure that doesn't support that upgrade.
Right. We talked about that transformer
Right.
and
So
bringing it up to speed.
correct. So we're gonna put in the infrastructure to support that future upgrade, but that's not included at this time.
Okay, and is that the only thing that's going to keep us down to 1? Or is that,
And potential cost of the individual chargers, yes.
are we having any success with the Buy American?
Well, since this isn't funded under the federal process, it doesn't, Buy America doesn't apply to this.
Okay,
It's just when you have a federal grant, that's when the Buy America kicks in.
all right.
That's the end of my
What
presentation.
project was it that we were having?
EV chargers at City Hall,
The
that was
city,
one, so that was TRPC CMAQ funding.
Mhm.
And that has all the federal strings attached to it.
Okay. So it's almost more efficient to not use.
A lot of the times,
Yeah.
we think a lot about that one before we apply for a grant.
So just so that I have a full understanding, the RFP for that will go out July.
We are currently scheduled to advertise in July pending land use approval.
And then if we get it, then maybe start work this winter.
Correct.
Okay, and then that job is what? That's a 6-month, 8-month job.
Should be complete by next summer. We
Okay.
can stay on that schedule. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then,
That is contingent on material delays. Light poles, for instance, are approximately 9 months currently. Cameras could be a year, so those components may drag it out, but that.
but we
that's-
could complete without cameras, right?
Yes,
And if we had to, could we finish it without light poles, or would we not do that?
We surely open it up after there's pavement and striping. It just
Okay.
wouldn't be lighting or,
All right, because we're not just gonna let a
Yeah.
nice full new
Correct.
parking lot sit.
yeah, they park there now in gravel without lights, so,
Yeah. Okay,
you know.
all right, just checking.
But some people like to have that nice smooth new asphalt undisturbed for a while. So-
Yeah, yeah.
Stunt riders. Yeah. I know those guys.
There will probably be people parking on it before there are stripes.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, that's in terms of project acceptance, we need all that stuff, but yeah, surely once asphalt's down and striping's in, it'll be utilized for parking.
Okay. All right, Mike, did you have anything on this agenda item?
Nope, no, it's great information. Love it. You know, we're always pretty responsible with taking care of what we got, especially with what's built on one-time money. So just great job and charge ahead. Thanks.
All right, well, next on our agenda, thank you, Ashley.
Yep.
Next on our agenda is the Britton Parkway Carpenter Road update, and presenting will be our Public Works Director, Scott Egger.
So I believe you wanted to take a look at this or made that request. It's a work session. So I'm going to turn it over to Martin Hoppy,
Okay.
our transportation guru.
Is there anything where you specifically you want to know about this?
Yeah, just completion of design, RFP date, length of project, and how it will coincide with the work that we're gonna be doing on Kuya. I think those were
Okay. I see the mouse, I can't. There you go. That helps. Okay, this is the slide that you saw in March.
Can you share
Is that-
screen?
Remote attendees.
It's not sharing.
Can you minimize that for a second?
Oh,
Right click. Okay, go down to the Zoom. Right. On the right. Oh,
Your other right.
the other right.
Zoom, right there.
I can't see that far.
Click that and then go up and click share screen. No. Presentation.
How about now? Okay, so yeah, we're building a single lane roundabout at Carpenter, Britton. And that can be easily expanded once the bridge gets widened on Carpenter Road.
Oh,
So that was kind of our intent, is that we didn't expect the county to be widening 15th anytime soon, and we didn't expect Carpenter to be widened anytime soon. So we thought it better just to do a temporary single lane roundabout that can be compatible with a future expansion. So we have that all laid out. Figuring it's going to be about $2.6 million. We have a couple projects in here. We're doing an overlay for the county from basically this Carpus, what we call the West Carpenter to Dram. We'll do their overlay. Go to the next slide. Let me show a little bit better, but basically build the roundabout here. We got an overlay from the apartments down here at Western. Goes about to here, do full construction through here to here, rebuild everything, and then we'll do an overlay for the county in here. As far as Pkwy Park, we added a sewer line to come from the roundabout, and we're stubbing it to the Carpenter Road so they can connect to it and bring it down the hill.
oh. See that again, sorry. It's part of the project when we were working on it. That was when the requirement that the bathrooms had to have sewer. Yeah.
So what we did is we're extending the sewer line to go to Carpenter Road so they can connect to it right about in here somewhere.
So there's sewer line in this section of Carpenter already.
Yeah, there's in Carpenter, it goes down to the lift station down here.
Okay.
So we'll just pick that up and bring it down to about here, and then they could connect to it and bring it down the hill to the bathrooms.
So let me ask you this, sewer line from Carpenter to the lift station. How many days of work do you think that is?
That's already there.
I know it is. Oh, but I'm wondering,
How long it took?
Yeah.
It was pretty deep.
like how
I'd
many
say
days
a
of,
good month.
that's a good 30 days worth of work,
I think that's fair.
some of that ballpark.
Yeah.
That's just,
I remember that project.
my mind thinks
It took a
about that
while.
stuff. It has no relevance to what we're doing here today.
Well, they brought it all the way from Martin Way when they were working on it.
Yeah.
And the soils make a huge difference because down there along Miles, it's gravelly. So if you have a deep sewer, it likes to run, which adds to the expanse, the shoring, the putback, the backfill, the repaving. So if you're in good soils that can almost stand vertical, so it's just, vertical excavation with a trench box and minimal restoration, it goes a lot faster than in gravelly soils.
Gotcha. So, well, I'll let you finish and then I'll ask you some things that I.
Well,
Are you
where
done?
we're at right now is the design's essentially done. We have to write a contract. We still need to purchase 2 properties. We bought 2 and we're still negotiating on 2 more. I know that Rick recently did an upgrade to the offer.
So right away, still a little work there.
Yeah, I think there's a little work. From what I understand, they're more than willing to give us possession and use if we want to go to ad, but our intent is to go to ad in October, November timeframe.
So this is long overdue, right? Like this is gonna be a really cool
Okay,
ad.
I'll give you some history. When we built Britton Parkway, we approached the county about teeing this up as a single intersection and putting a roundabout here. And the county wanted nothing to do with it.
Dude, that whole section right there is like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, if we send trucks from, you know, I hope they approach from a different way, first and foremost. I hope they approach from that Hawks Prairie Road, because it seems a lot safer than like, you know, like,
Well, most of the trucks just drive down Carpenter and take a right onto Britton Parkway.
Yeah.
Very few of them make a left turn.
I know, but
Okay.
we are gonna be having trucks for phase 1 of Cuyo, right? And there's gonna have to be access.
Construction vehicles.
Yeah, you know, that is not, you can't, how do you can't, I mean, you can access it, you can take that chance, but I mean, you'd be much safer on the Hawks Prairie
Actually,
side.
there's almost no collisions at that intersection. I mean, we've.
It's surprising.
But there's very few heavy equipment trucks that
Make a left turn, I agree.
Yeah.
But
it's just,
I understand.
so anyway, one of the concerns about this one was, you know, the visibility factor. If you're coming from Carpenter and you're gonna take a right or left on Britton Parkway, you know, there's that big old wall of dirt right there, you know, that people try to climb with their 4-wheel, you know what I mean? Like random, oh, look, I'm gonna go and climb this wall. I haven't done, but I've heard, you know, I've seen the tracks of dirt. Anyway, the wall itself limits visibility from, you know, traffic that comes up 15th. And so I was wondering if this will this help it with that at all? Is this roundabout kind of, I guess it's not really gonna.
You're talking about as you travel eastbound from Dram on to Britton Park, where you come up that hill and around the corner to the intersection. This should help with that.
Yeah, because
visibility and
these people, okay, so you're stopped here, right?
Right.
So these people coming up here are hard to see. You don't see them until they're like right about here, right? You just can't see them. And so that has been the concern of, that's the concern that I hear about probably the most. That is just because this is a kind of a mound, being able, you have to like almost pull out into the road in order to see, you know, in time for what's coming. That's it. And I was hoping that this would potentially address,
Oh, absolutely.
Some of that.
I mean, yeah.
you know,
Well, you have to slow down for the roundabout itself, so that you have to yield anybody in the circle.
what's the predominant trip trip segments on that roundabout? Is it
I
gonna
don't
be,
remember.
You mean turning movement?
yeah, is it gonna be?
I think the predominant one is mainly the left turn from Britton Parkway onto Carpenter and the right turn onto.
And that will create the gaps for the people who are traveling westbound, for people like you're describing coming out. So they'll slow down for the roundabout, you'll have the queuing, and you'll create the gaps.
yeah, this is gonna be good for everybody.
Yeah.
Except for the change in the speed limit.
What happened was actually those apartments on 15th did a traffic study about the same time the Home Depot proper new warehouse was. Both those traffic studies showed that this intersection would fail within when they get built with all the pipeline projects and everything. So that's when we had to jump into action on this and get this one done.
Yeah. What's our cost?
2.6 million in that ballpark. There's gonna be the sewer line's gonna be funded through the sewer utility, and the TBD's funding the overlay on the west, and the county's paying for their share of their overlay.
Oh, good for them. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean, we do typically have good relations with the county. And so when we have a project, we ask if they have anything and vice versa. So I think it was like when we did the Carpenter Road, we also got we overlaid their section of Carpenter.
I remember that. How many days of work?
Figured that out
Potential.
yet.
Okay.
I think it'd take 6 to 8 months, would be
Okay.
my guess. We haven't got that far though. We don't have the contractor in.
This will just be nice to report out on that something's happening there. I remember when we put in the bus, as opposed to the parking, and got all kinds of pushback on that. So a lot of things happen on this stretch of road. So I'm glad to see that it's getting developed to its fullest potential, potentially. That's all I got, man.
That's all I have too.
Does anybody else have anything?
Stop share.
Anything for the good of the order? Mike, how you doing?
Good. Sure.
This is new.
There you go. My allergies are just killing me. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
No, I'm excited for that Carpenter Road. Carpenter and Britton Parkway. It's too bad the county's not as forward thinking and as responsible as they should be, but come November, might have more forward thinking leadership there that can get that roundabout taken care of. So, but
Yeah.
they're doing what they can, I guess. It's just, we just keep leading by a good example and others will follow.
I talked to one of the commissioners the other day and he said, Malcolm, we want to be more like Lacey.
Yeah, and there's a few things that they do good that we take notice of too, but it's a good partnership so far. It could have been better on this project. It's
Well, we will keep doing everything we can.
That thing was over 25 years ago and I remember it was a dollar issue for them.
yeah. Well, it is what it is, and maybe when the Squally Reach and I-5 and that whole thing, the construction happens with that. And we'll have to deal with the railroads and all that. Maybe we can revisit the trestle and get that mess taken care of that should have been taken care of, 15 years ago. So missed the train on that one again, so it's all right. We just remember the past so you don't repeat it, I guess.
Yep, and we all have growing pains and there's parts of the relationship that need to be touched on and repaired, but there's parts that are also good. We have a good established relationship with them for equipment and road work that crosses jurisdictional boundaries. So work in progress. So if there is nothing further, if anybody has anything good for the good of the order, seeing none, then I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you guys all for being here.
I hope you guys have a good rest of your Tuesday. Take care.